So now that we know our way around the parts of the bass, it's time to tune up. Tuning refers to making sure that the strings sound at the proper pitch when you are not pushing them down to fret a note. This is something you usually have to do a little bit every time you play, so don't worry if you pick your bass up and it's a little out of tune. This is normal. If it is way out of tune or you can hear it going out of tune while you play it, that may mean it's time to have it looked at by a guitar technician. So, from lowest pitch to highest pitch, the notes of the open strings are E, A, D, and G. As I mentioned in the introduction video, there are many different tunings for basses, but this is the standard and therefore most common. To tune up, I'm going to use a clip-on tuner. These are usually inexpensive, common, and accurate. They clip on to the headstock of your bass like this, and you turn them on with the push of the main button. I like these tuners because they pick up the vibrations of the instrument through the wood rather than listening to the sound of the bass as it travels through the air. This means that you can tune quickly and accurately, even in noisy environments. You can always be sure that the tuner is listening to your bass and only your bass. Let's start by tuning the low E string. Pluck the string without fretting a note. Our goal is to have the correct note displayed here, with the needle smack in the middle. So you can see that the correct note is showing, but the needle's leaning a bit to the left. This means that we're a bit too low, or flat. So to tune it up, we're going to turn the E string tuning machine counterclockwise. You'll know you're tuning to the right direction if you hear the pitch of the instrument rise slightly. Alright, so we went in the right direction, but a bit too far. You can now see that the needle is leaning to the right. This means that our open E is now too high, or sharp. Let's back off the tuning machine by turning it ever so slightly clockwise. There. Now that the E string is in tune, we'll repeat the process for the remaining strings. Once you have gone through all 4 strings, return to the one you started with to make sure it's still in tune. The strings generate a lot of tension on the neck and will pull it forward slightly. This means that once we have tuned up our bass, the strings may have already loosened a bit, meaning that they'll be flat. Repeat the tuning process once or twice, going through each string to make sure it has kept its tune. Once all the strings have stabilized, we're ready to play. Before we move on, what happens if we pluck a note and the display shows something that isn't our target note? Usually the bass strings will be within 1 to 2 notes of the target. So here we're trying to tune the G string, but it's showing F with a little number sign beside it. This little number sign indicates sharp. So F sharp is a half step lower than G, so in this case, we need to tune up. So there you have it. Tuning takes a bit of practice and patience when you're first starting out, but once you do it a few times, tuning will be a quick and painless process.